Too a little short for a stormtrooper.
Anyway,
where do we even start with
episode
this?
10. Dude, this was a banger.
It was. We were talking before the show that this week, for anyone who's watching on Twitch or listening to this, we're hitting episode 10 of Andor and then Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and it's just like, which one do we do first? Because they were both great.
Yeah. And we're doing a regular episode of a bunch of awesome stuff tonight,
Right,
too. Like,
yeah.
a lot of cool news came out this week, too. So this is a packed week, and we're starting off with Andor, really because, Steve, I said this to someone else. This has been my pitch to people that I know that like Star Wars stuff, but
Yeah.
haven't watched Andor yet. I say it's the greatest Star Wars anything since the original trilogy, and I'm only saying that because I have a nostalgic love for the original trilogy, and if I didn't, there's an intellectual side of my brain that is kind of saying, Mike, this is probably better than Return of the Jedi. Like you could probably inch it up into that top 3 that you love so much, but I just can't because of my nostalgic childhood love. But it is, for me, the greatest Star Wars thing that has been made since the original trilogy.
Right. I mean, for me, like, in my rankings, Rogue One is literally right behind Empire.
Yeah.
And this is playing off of Rogue One. Go figure. It's right up there. You take something that I already like and add whatever Tony Gilroy is doing to this, because it's magic, whatever it is. And it's been a ride.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the Prison Break episode.
Yep.
If you people listening forgot, it's the big Prison
Spoiler.
Break. Spoiler.
Prison Break.
Yeah, we've been building up to it for 2 episodes now. And my God, I honestly, I don't even know where to start, because it's not even just the Prison Break is like the centerpiece of the episode, but there's such good stuff with Mon Mothma in this episode. There's such good stuff with Luthen in this episode at the same time.
Yeah, Luthen so I'd assume anyone who's listening to this has seen the episode. Going through, like, watching the interactions between Andor and Kino, which Kino Loy is Andy Serkis's character. Like, watching the interaction there and then hearing Kino's speech, it was like, oh, this hits. This is like A+ material. And then it got shoved to the back seat by the monologue that Luthen delivers later, and you're just like, what is going on here?
Yeah, the fact that they could like cram so much powerful stuff into one episode and not have it be like too much, or not have it feel crowded. It was like, this was like an absolute tipping point for the series, and I can only assume that 11 and 12 are also going to be like kind of firing on all cylinders,
right,
like this is like
seat.
That was as well. But yeah, you're right, man. But okay, well, let's start with the Prison Break thing, I guess. It starts where the last one picks up, or last one left off.
Yep. And for anyone who didn't know, the episode name is No Way Out.
No Way Out,
which will come back a couple different
times. One Way Out. It's One Way Out.
The episode name is No Way Out.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, damn.
Oh
I
no,
thought
it is One Way
yeah.
Out.
Okay, I was gonna say.
I was thinking it was No Way Out on account of like playing on One Way Out for that,
Kino's, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then Luthen's speech of there's basically he's
Oh
got
yeah,
no way out and this guy
yeah.
can't get out.
Interesting.
So I was thinking it was a play on that. It was just One Way Out, which also is in itself pretty
Yeah, yeah. So Andor and Kino are going back to their cells right after the great ending of the previous episode. How many guards on each level? No more than 12. They're talking about it, and like Andor, Cassian is like talking about it. It's got to be tomorrow. It has to happen tomorrow. They're scared. Right now is when they're scared. We have to do this. It's going to happen tomorrow. And you can Andy Serkis, incredible performance in this episode. Incredible performance in this episode. I think I said this last week too, but like this is why you get an actor like Andy Serkis for this role. After the first episode he's introduced, it didn't seem like that big of a thing, but now clearly we know why they cast a name for this part. He was just incredible in this role because you can see him going through it in his brain, like, do I believe this is happening? Is this really happening? Can this possibly be happening to me? Like, this is not what I thought was going to happen, but like accepting it also by the time they get into their cells, everyone's asking what happened, what happened, what happened. Cassian starts trying to explain it, and then Kino just interrupts and said, no one is getting out. The top of his lungs. No one's getting out. Whatever we're going to do, we need to figure it out now or whatever. Which leads perfectly right into the next day where they are, oh man, the tension in this episode was through the roof where you know that they're all planning something and we don't even really know what. It's not like a Mission Impossible movie where there's been a scene where Tom Cruise and his buddies are like, okay, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to do this and this is the plan. Now we're going to execute the plan.
Right.
Like all we've seen is Cassian trying to cut open a pipe in the bathroom. We don't know why.
Right. And the other dude watching for him. Like scouting for him.
Yeah.
And
that's it. And I love that they still didn't tell us what the plan was because it kept us on the edge of our seat, just like the prisoners were. You could tell that they were all anxious, but doing their best to keep building, keep up appearances.
Right. There's no Danny Ocean that's coming in and laying a plan out and saying, go do this and get out. So. Exactly.
So just in the nick of time, Cassian cuts open the water pipe that shorts out the electricity on the floor as the new guy is coming down to just create enough chaos for them to short out their floor so they can get up and out, steal some guns, and set the other prisoners free. They make it to the communications center, and Cassian and Kino, I'm shocked they didn't kill those two Imperial officers. It's insane that they didn't do that because they could have just turned everything back on as soon as they left. Like just shoot them. I don't know what's wrong. You're already doing this,
right?
But
I'm sure the next two people through that weren't the two protagonists for the entire series probably did.
Probably. But you mentioned this in a previous episode. We were talking about how it's showing Cassian becoming like a leader, kind of.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. I agree with that to an extent, but even Rogue One, Cassian's not like the main guy. Like he is a little bit, but like Cassian is he's the guy behind the guy.
Right.
He's pushing the leader to be a better leader. And he does that with Jyn in Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing that with Kino in this episode, saying, you have to make a speech, talk to them.
Right.
And Kino doesn't know what to say. And he starts saying something. He's like, that's all you've got? He's driving Kino to be a better leader because he knows that Kino is the one that's going to be able to inspire these people. And like, that's one of Cassian's strengths. It's not necessarily being a leader, but it's identifying a leader and pushing that person.
Right.
I think to a point where they can be
right.
better.
He's not the charismatic, like talky out in front of the Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
That we're going to, and ultimately I was thinking about this as this episode came to a close, that we're getting the leader of men in Andor of like his vision to select people and, like you're saying, push them and get them out in front. And then you've also got the charismatic leader of the rebellion with the speeches and like her appealing to the Senate and all that. And it's like putting all the pieces to this rebellion puzzle together. And I think by the end of this series definitely the end of the series, seeing it goes where it goes. But like see that kind of all come together. And it's really like the pacing, the way they're doing it is just, it's sublime so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, the biggest gut punch that you could possibly get, they get up to the top of the thing. Like, I think they know that they're in a prison in a lake, right? I think they know. If they don't, I don't know. But like,
no, they have to know they're underwater because of the prisons when they're looking across.
Right. Yeah, because they're submerged. Yeah.
Right.
They get up. They see there's a big jump down to the lake. People start jumping. Cassian looks back at Kino, and Kino says, "Can't swim." Cassian says, "What? Can't swim." Cassian gets knocked over.
Does the standard reach back to try and help him, and then gets knocked out.
Yep. And then the look on Andy Serkis's face that goes from like joy and laughing at the irony of this to, I'm either going to drown or I'm going to get killed by the Empire.
Right.
To 30 seconds from now.
Well, yeah, because he's either standing there. He's not going back in because there's a faucet of people sprinting out of that hole. Because as the chant said, and the name of the episode was, there's only one way out.
Yep. And he's standing in front of it.
Yeah.
And, but I just want to say that look that he gives at the end is just like such a heartbreaking, like his face fades into this like just dejected, what am I going to do now? I am going to die. Here I am facing my death.
Now you would think the raft of people that all just jumped off somebody could help him, but
yeah, you'd think. And maybe they do. That's the thing. Like, you don't see him jump. You don't see him get captured. So maybe he does jump. Maybe he gets knocked over. Maybe he just tries swimming. Maybe he makes it.
Yeah.
We don't know. We could see him show up in season 2. Who knows? But yeah, that was incredible. And then we have, I think it's only the one scene we get with Mon Mothma in this episode where she meets, I don't remember the guy's name, the guy that she didn't want to meet, but the guy that can funnel her money.
That's basically trying to, we're heading back to medieval Europe and arranging marriages and stuff. Yeah,
some House of the Dragon shit in this episode where the guy seems a little full of himself, as we were expecting, or like I was, based on her objection to him coming to her in the first place. And then his one requirement of doing this is that he gets to come back again and bring his son, who's about the same age as her daughter, hinting that he wants to get them married. And she immediately puts her foot down, which a respectable mother would do. But I don't know, again, the tension in that scene was just
right. And Take Home is there,
wild,
fellow Chandrilan. It was what, Davo, something like that.
Davo, yeah, something. I don't remember his name. But yeah.
Either way, like, can help. But and I guess we're back to the how much is Mon Mothma willing to lose for the rebellion? And that's, I got a hunch that's exactly why this scene was put in there.
Yes.
But like,
it's pushing her.
Right. Yeah. Of, your family are pieces in this game.
Right.
And that's at this point, that seems a little unnerving to her, to resign her daughter to the same fate she's stuck with of the arranged marriage and all that. So
because she was married. They got married when she was 15. Didn't they say that or something?
Yep. Her and Perrin were married when she was 15.
Yeah. She's clearly stuck in a marriage that is not about love, at all. And she's trying to save the world, and he's just there to have a good time, and they're not on the same page at all. And she definitely does not want that for her daughter. But here we are. I don't know. Like, I am very interested to see what happens there and what.
Yeah, that'll be. We've kind of been away from that, so I got a hunch that's gonna take the 4 in the next couple episodes.
Could be.
There, we've kind of we have the ultimately things end with Cassian and Melchi running somewhere, so we'll see the culmination of that over the next 2 episodes. We'll talk more about Luthen later, but like Mon Mothma's kind of the last episode, we saw her for the 5 minutes of this scene.
Yeah.
So maybe it's something where one of the next two is like a half Mon Mothma episode to tie up her loose ends for the season.
Yeah. So then, after all that, what else could possibly happen? We find out that one of the higher up guys at the ISB is a spy for the rebellion, a guy that we've been seeing in the background the entire series. Is going to meet with Luthen, informing them that the mission that he set up with Saw Gerrera in an early episode is a trap, and that Krieger, I guess is the guy's name, and his men are going to get ambushed and they're going to get killed. And Luthen says, I can't do it. I'm not going to tell them, because if I tell them and they don't show up, then they'll know that there's a spy.
They got tipped off.
And then you're in danger. So I'm not going to do that. And he also denies any involvement in Aldhani, which I thought was interesting too. Like, I'm not going to tell this guy anything that he doesn't need to know.
It's very much a need to know basis, and you're not on the inside.
Yeah. And so this guy, whose name I don't remember, then he says, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I have a family now. I need to get out. Luthen just looks at him and says, nope, sorry. You're not going anywhere. I need you. You're too important.
Yep.
And then this guy's, sorry, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was going to say Lonnie kind of goes off about his, family and having to get out, and, why, trying to appeal to Luthen as to why he needs out.
Yeah. Yeah. And ends up asking him, well, what have you sacrificed?
Right.
And we get such an incredible monologue from this character, with so many great lines. I have it pulled up in front of me.
Oh, dude. Okay.
I've made my mind a sunless place. I share my dreams with ghosts. I wake up every day to an equation I wrote 15 years ago from which there's only one conclusion: I'm damned for what I do. Like, it's just so good. What is my sacrifice? I'm condemned to use the tools of my enemy to defeat them. I burn my decency for someone else's future. I burn my life to make a sunrise that I know I'll never see. Man.
Yeah.
That's just damn good writing. Damn powerful writing. So good.
Well, and like you said, Tony, I think you said it offline, but Tony Gilroy kind of went on the press tour this week, and one of the right along those lines, he came straight out to Hollywood Reporter and said Luthen is a chess player. He's sacrificing a castle to protect his queen. So I don't think the Krieger story is over yet. Luthen's in a very tough spot, and his position over the next 5 years is only going to get more complicated. You're seeing the beginning of those episodes or issues in episode 10, and one of the major food groups we'll be dealing with in the second season. So to me, more Stellan Skarsgård as Luthen Rael is not going to be something I complain about, because
I don't think he's he's gonna certainly make it to season 2.
Yep.
He went on to talk about people keep asking, I guess, like, what are they building in that prison? And we talked about it before, like, are they building Death Star parts? Are they just building AT-AT stuff? And Tony Gilroy answered it in a question by saying they're building season 2. And he kind of laughed. He said it's the spine of season 2. I've heard all kinds of things. It's great. All the material that the Empire has. I look at everything and say, economically, how does this work? Who built Scarif? How do you build that? How do you build Edu? How do you build the Death Star with this armada of ships? There's a lot of things that need to be built, and there's an incredible amount of material. So to me, what they're building is not as important as the scale of it, which I think is a good point. Like, it doesn't really matter. The point is that they need to enslave all these people in order to build their infrastructure, because, of how many people does it take to build a Death Star? Like, a lot.
All of the Geonosians.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I did love from that, like, a snippet. I don't think actually you had it on the board, but he noted, I know we've talked about a couple times, all the Easter eggs and where they come from and whether it was like him or someone on his team. And he said every now and then they sneak shit in there that even I didn't know that he was reading. Yeah, like, he's like reading fan theories. Luthen's...
Yeah. One of Padme's headgear thing from Attack of the Clones was in this past episode.
Oh, was it?
I think.
I didn't catch that one. Nice.
I saw like a screenshot back and forth, or something similar.
Right. Some Nabooian something.
Yeah. He also talked about just kind of like the reviews of the show and like whether Lucasfilm is happy. He said everyone's really happy. I've never had reviews or affirmation like this in my life. Anything. I don't know what else to say. It's humbling. So yeah, I think everyone's happy with that. Everyone's pleased that House of the Dragon and Rings of Power are now out of the way. And I think a lot of people that were waiting for someone to tell them it's okay to watch Andor now. So the plan is that we'll have a pretty long tail as we go. Maybe those other shows are out of the way. So now, nothing is distracting all the nerds from catching up or watching the end of Andor. He also talked about a little bit more about season 2, saying, I'm hoping that what we're going to do in the second half will make the meal feel really satisfying. Or sorry, this is the end of the season, I guess, because the first year is all about him becoming, and the last line of this tranche of 12 episodes will sum up where we've been trying to get to. So it's like a teaser for the end of the season. And then we will come back a year later. It will be very different. The next 4 years of story are not about becoming a revolutionary. They're about learning to be a leader and how difficult it is to put the alliance together and what happens to people who are the original gangsters versus the establishment and a lot of different other issues. So I feel like that's going to be kind of, somebody like Luthen or somebody like Saw Gerrera working with somebody like Mon Mothma, who is an establishment figure. It's like Bernie Sanders or AOC talking to Joe Biden or something like that. Like it's that kind of dichotomy, which I think they're setting up very well. Yeah. And of course, for real life, we know that those kinds of mindsets don't always get along.
Yeah. Even within the same ideology of trying to, fight the empire, there's going to be
trying to save
our
world from fascism.
Right.
Which is what? Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Weird.
Real life.
Huh.
Yeah.
Funny how that happens.
Yeah. So the last thing he says, regarding the transition from season 1 to season 2, says, I'm carrying forward something like 30 characters. So what becomes interesting is now we can play with the negative space. When you jump a year, what happened in between? Because season 2, we know, covers 4 years, the next 4 years between the end of this season and up to Rogue One. So there's definitely going to be time jumps in that. So he says, when you jump a year, what happened in between? You know the characters, you know what their trajectory was. It's energizing. We'll be starting with new characters, obviously, in the next 700 pages. There will be all kinds of new things, and we'll be just as granular as we ever were. And really, the second half is about what does time do to all these people? People grow up, people get tired, people betray each other, and people change their minds, and people get weak, and people get crazy. So, I can certainly see building a rebellion in this way. This first season's been so stressful, but then once you're in the trenches and you're committed to it and you're doing it, yeah, of course I can see people losing their minds a little bit and maybe changing their minds a little bit. So this show's incredible, and season 2 is just about to start filming, so very excited that we're getting a second season of it, and I cannot wait. Yeah. And I also can't wait for Wednesday. I have penultimate episode.
Right. I have been very excited about the pacing of the episode 2 of the season 2 allowing us to kind of learn a little more in depth on some of these characters and not just have that brush over. We talked about a lot of these things are 6 episodes or 8 episodes, and does that give enough time for the character to breathe, or the characters in this case to breathe?
Yeah.
And I think this 12 episode, multiple mini arc with through lines kind of is working quite well.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Maybe we see a return not to old school TV, which I know a lot of this was a pushback against, like serialized, 24, 26, 30 episodes in a season. Sure. The pushback from that to, hey, maybe a dozen or so, 10 to 14 of, you don't have too many that you need to put the fluff in, but you also can expand upon things and not just take for granted people that already knew the source material.
Yeah. But it's also hard when this is Diego Luna is a star, but he's not Ewan McGregor.
Right.
So a good chunk of that budget went to paying Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, and Jimmy Smits, actors to come back for that, so maybe we can only do a 6-episode season because all of our budget's going to get Ewan McGregor back as Obi-Wan. When you're working with actors that aren't, as well known as Ewan McGregor, then your budget goes a little bit farther. But yeah, I know what you're saying. And I hope I don't know, because Obi-Wan is interesting. Obi-Wan for me could have been shorter, or it could have been longer if they took their time on a little bit more stuff. Because some stuff felt like filler, but
Right.
nothing of this show, as slow as the pace is, nothing about Andor to me feels like filler,
Right.
at all.
Everything that's been done seems to have a reason for it to be done.
Yeah, it informs something: plot, character, world building, whatever. It's informative for sure. Anyway, we've talked about it for a long time. We've got 2 more shows to do tonight, so I say we wrap this up and then take a 2-second break before we jump into our Black Panther Wakanda Forever reaction.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea.
All right, let's do it.
For anyone doing that, if you're watching us on Twitch, hang around. We'll be right back. If you're listening on your earbuds or on your speakers or however you decide to listen to us via podcatcher, like, review, subscribe. If you want to talk to us elsewise, then find us on the socials or drop us a line at themultiverseport@gmail.com. And I think that's about all I got.
I think that's all I got too. So until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the multiverse.